from being someone who was struggling at a job, who did not even know why am I here and what am I doing? I'm all by myself, not having a lot of friends, not having the independence that I had in India, and then sucking at the job that I was also doing. There was a lot of apprehension, but I'm glad that we took that leap of faith. It has kind of opened so many avenues for me, which I don't think it would have been this way. Some of the people like really say that, we've never seen such a fast track promotion happen in like 3 years, which just doesn't happen.
Welcome back to another episode of The Phoenix Spotted. We have with us another rare phoenix here who has an amalgamation of three core qualities, and this combination of qualities creates a recipe for success: perseverance, dedication, and faith. These are the three things that she is truly known for, and those inspire me as well. Welcome to the Empowered Body Mind Soul community. If you're new here in the chat, put down your name and where you're from. I am Manali Mehta. I'm the founder of Empowered Body Mind Soul. I'm a life coach, trainer, and graphologist. We're here to talk about Nikita's journey today, where she's going to talk about her relationships and her career and how they've all transformed using these three core qualities. Hi, Nikita. How are you?
Hi, Manali. I'm good. How are you?
What is the time there?
It's 7:49 p.m.
Great. So we're talking about phoenixes, and she stays in Phoenix. So this is a good way to start this. So let's start into you telling us what got you to Empowered Body Mind Soul.
So I stumbled upon Manali and Empowered Body, Mind, Soul just randomly, of course, through my sister. She one day came to me and she was telling me that, oh, I found someone, who can analyze handwriting and tell you about your personality. And I was like, you know what? Just don't lie. I don't think that's ever possible. So she said, no, I've given my sample and I'm going to get my analysis in a few days. Do you want to try it? I was like, okay. I just went ahead for the kick of it, to see what's going to happen. But for me, it was just a kick of it. It's not going to work, but let's see what happens. So that's how I first met Manali. Gave my handwriting sample. I didn't realize that the day I gave my handwriting sample, and that that day would be the changing day of my life, because I think it was the next day or in 2 days when I received my handwriting analysis. It was bang on, and there were certain aspects of my personality which I feel I wasn't even aware of. Or if I was aware, it was so deep within me, and so that I had, not even shared that part of myself with anybody around me. So that just pushed me towards making a better life for myself, I would say, because there were certain aspects that was there on the analysis, and while I was reading it, I realized that, oh, what if I work on these, and how is it going to change my life going forward? So that's when I decided that I'm going to go back to Manali. We did sessions, graphotherapy sessions, to work on the areas, to improve on certain areas, and yeah, it's been a journey since that day.
And how long ago did this journey start?
I would say almost a decade ago. I think it was March of 2014. So yes, almost a decade ago.
And as you were sharing that it was something in your analysis which stood out for you, right? Do you mind sharing what was it that made you realize that there is something to handwriting analysis?
Two things majorly actually. That as a child that I was rebellious. While I was reading it, I didn't even realize that I was rebelling against, my parents and authority figures in my life. But when I went back and started relating to instances, and of course having a conversation with Manali where she started to show me instances, it became more clearer that yes, I was rebelling against authority. I think that one was a shocker for me, I should say, because I had not ever thought about it that way. So I think that was one of the first things that we started to work on, was to become okay being around authority, and it was okay to have the authority figures in your life and not to see them as or not to rebel against them. So I think that was the first thing that stood out for me on the analysis. And the second thing was just not being my own self, not having the confidence in myself that I can do much better than what I was doing back then. So we started to work on my confidence level, self belief, self respect. And I think that kind of was, I would say, the game changer, which kind of fast tracked a lot of things for me.
Right. So, as you were saying, 10 years, starting with working on rebellion, then going to your identity. What has the journey been like in these 10 years?
The journey has been wonderful now that I look back at it. There were, of course, ups and downs. There's no denial to it. There were days when I remember going back to Manali that, it's enough. I just want to get over this situation that keeps coming back to me, and just want to make sure that I'm taking the right learning and moving forward. So there have been days like that, but of course there have been beautiful days of how, because of all the support that I had from you, Manali, that I was able to transform my life, whether it was being at the rock bottom while I was going through my divorce, or being at I wouldn't say the rock bottom, but the second lowest the second time when I felt at the lowest in my life was after I moved to US, when I was still settling in a new country with a new job, and understanding how to live in a country where I knew no one and making new friends. I think that was the other transformation that I have seen for myself. So I think it's been a wonderful, beautiful journey with ups and downs, but I think more than downs, it has been the ups.
So I always kind of applaud you and I take you around like one trophy and I tell everybody that Nikita's this one person if I've told her something, she'll do it exactly like to the dot. Especially like we're talking about graphology, graphotherapy, handwriting analysis, which is the science of analyzing the handwriting. And then we work through
Right.
scientific formations to make changes. So Nikita is that person who used to write it in the exact copy of what I would have written. So I used to call it like a Xerox copy, right? So, did that really support you? Like, where did that come from? Was that your turning point towards your career first or your relationships first when you started working on graphotherapy?
I think it was both for me, Manali, and I'll tell you why. Relationship with self is what I think, building my identity was the first step, right? I don't think it was more of relationship with others, but it was my relationship with myself, right? That we started to work on. However, even though we started off with that, I think the career aspect of it and the professional my professional life, that took a bigger jump because of graphotherapy. Definitely, definitely.
So, can you share what was it that how did you work on transitioning yourself from what happened? Like you went into the US, you were struggling a little bit, and then you weren't sure whether you made the right decision, but you wanted to stick by that decision, right? So, what was that journey like, and which methods beyond graphotherapy, or was it a specific letter in graphotherapy that really supported you to making the transition because you've not yet shared where you are in your career life now.
Yes. So when I came to the US, I was still working with the firm I was employed back in India. I came to US looking at it as an opportunity back then, that, oh, I'm going to go to another country, and for me, I think it was more of just moving out from where I was, because uh, and just, I think, exploring another country. But when I came to the US, it was very different. I had that independence in India, which initially I did not have in the US. So that kind of, started to bother me a lot. And I have never been very good at making friends. So I've always been an introvert, always had my close friend circle around me. So making new friends, so all of that was difficult. And then of course between India and US, if you look at, everything is different, right from the taxes to the metric system to how people are. Like in India, people are so cozy, you know your neighbors, you know who's next door, you just call people and you talk to them. But here, you kind of even text people that, are you available for a call? So for me, adapting to that change, because I had always lived close by my family, even in India. So adapting to that change of living a life so independently that you did not even have your close friend circle or family around. I think just adopting to that was I was having difficulty and I was struggling with that. And I now that I look back at it, I think it was more of struggling with change, being not being okay with the change that I was going through. But of course, slowly and steadily, we started to work on it. We started to work on a lot of things, not just my handwriting, like not I can't even think of if it's a specific letter, to be honest, but I think the biggest change that we did was changing the slant of my handwriting, right? Like it it wasn't easy. It took me months and months to bring that shift in myself and in my personality, where we moved from AB slant to CD slant, which is a big change. But I think it the way it has changed my trajectory is very different. Where I mean, from being someone who was struggling at a job, who did not even know why am I here and what am I doing with, you know, I'm all by myself, not having a lot of friends, not having the independence that I had in India, and then sucking at the job that I was also doing. It just kind of gave me a new direction. I changed my job. I started to settle in a new job. And over a period of 3 4 years from being a senior in the firm when I was hired, I became a manager, and now I'm at a senior manager position. So in a period of just 5 years. So I think I would attribute that to all the work that we had done back then. I know at that time I was questioning why we are changing my the slant of my handwriting, and how is it going to be. There was a lot of apprehension, but I'm so glad that I just stuck with that, to the guidance that you were providing, that it's okay, let's take the leap of faith and we'll see what's going to happen. If things don't work well, I always knew that I had Manali's back to fall back on, and make sure that I get to the right place. But I'm glad that we took that leap of faith, and it has kind of opened so many avenues for me, which I don't think it would have been this way if we did not work on graphotherapy. And then, of course, as we were working through the graphotherapy, we also worked on a lot of affirmations, just to make sure that, the transition that I was going through settles completely. And I am okay with, because I've never been okay with change, that this change, I settle in it much more easily and effortlessly. So we started to also work with a lot of affirmations. So I think for me, the combination of affirmation and the graphotherapy is what has worked wonders, especially after I came to US.
Glad that you shared that, there were a lot of apprehensions, but you still kind of followed through. Because
Yes.
I remember a very specific conversation with you when we were changing your slant and you were wondering, how is this going to help? Because it's really hard. Like, this is too much of a
Yes.
big change for me. And I said, just stick with it. And we had also put a deadline on that call that it will bring you to a position in your career
Yes.
everybody will be surprised with, because people take about 8 9 years to get there, and we will make it happen in 3 4 years.
Yes, I remember that conversation when I went back to you, Manali, being in awe of one of my senior leadership people and telling you that, hey, Manali, maybe one day I want to get there. And you told me that we'll get you there in 3 years and 3 to 5 years. So just stick with what I'm telling you and trust me that, it is going to happen. And it actually did happen. Like it in a period of 3 to 5 years, even with my promotion to senior manager, some of the people like really say that, we've never seen such a fast track promotion happen, at it, and in this job that you've just became a senior manager in like 3 years, which just doesn't happen. So yes, I remember that conversation as well.
So, yes. So, while you were sharing about your career trajectory, simultaneously, there was a lot going on in your personal life as well.
Yes.
You were struggling with certain relationships, you moved to the US, and then you were also figuring out, like you were saying, no friends and all of that. How did you transition that? What was it that you worked upon? So, you found a really loving partner now. So, what was the transition of that?
Uh, I think it took me a while. So one of the reasons also that I moved to US was just to get away from all the negativity that I was feeling back in India because I was going through the divorce. I wasn't, of course, no one is happy when you're hitting rock bottom of your life and you want to make changes around you so that thinking that you will that it's going to change a lot of things within you, but not realizing that until you work on yourself, how much ever environmentally things you change, until you work on the thought pattern and yourself, it's going to be just temporary. It's you're still going to feel and feel the same way that you were feeling in a few days or maybe a few months. So that's what started to happen after I moved to US. The initial few days was yes, exploring the new city, exploring the place. All of that happened, and that's after a few months is when reality struck. Like, okay, what am I doing here, all alone? That's how I was feeling back in India while I was going through my divorce. Um, I think also what happened was that as I was going through my divorce, I had shut myself out of talking to people, interacting with people, because of the fear of getting hurt. That maybe like the way I've been hurt and emotionally and mentally, if I become close to someone else, I'm going to feel the same way. So as we were, one of the other things, of course, like I said, career and professionally, there was a lot of changes that we started to see. But it was also at a personal level that I started to see the change, right? I started to make more friends. I started to meet new people. I started to talk to them. But initially, it was just limited to, making new friends, like talking to them, meeting them, and that's it. And I clearly remember that day when Manali told me that we have to make sure that you break this pattern and come out of it, because you need to go talk to other people, and Manali encouraged me that I'm not going to have my session until you've at least chatted with 3 boys on the dating app. And like, okay, that's going to take a few days. She said, okay, whenever you've done chatting with 3 boys, just ping me, and I'm going to come back and take the next session with you. So I mustered the courage, not knowing where again how things are going to change, where it is going to take me. I just mustered the courage, and then eventually, I just started enjoying chatting with random people. I met a few people, of course, and I think that started to give me clarity of what I am looking for in my partner and what kind of qualities I want in my partner. And that's how I met Sudhanshu, my husband now, and we got married 2 years back. Yes, 2 years back. Um, but of course, in this entire process, I would say that there were two things, right? The push from Manali, which I think I definitely needed at that time, where in that point where I was in my life, to go talk to people, and trust me, I feel it was one of the best things that I could have done at that time. I'm glad that I heard and stuck to Manali's guidance, and like she said, just go. It don't think about anything, just go. So I think just that taking that action of helped. And of course, we worked on a lot of relationship, like healing all a lot of the relationship traumas that I have had with my divorce. So yes, a lot of that also definitely helped.
So you were going through like a lot of transition together, right? So what is that
Yes.
one process that stuck with you that you still use till date beyond graphotherapy? Graphotherapy is something that you still keep going back to, like you shared before this recording even started, that you looked at your handwriting and you started working on it again. So you have taken the efforts to
Yes.
learn and practice it again and again. But is there one specific method that you feel everybody can take a learning from and they can also use in their life?
I think for me, affirmations have been my biggest support and strength. I remember the days when I was back home and we were going through the divorce proceedings, and I just called you that Manali, this is what is the situation. I really don't know what to do. And Manali gave me, and this was the first time I actually started saying the seven chakra affirmations without even knowing what it was. And I did not even know about it that time that, these are related to seven chakras and balancing the seven chakras specifically for, the issue at hand that you're talking, that you're saying the affirmation for. I just remember that I just, like a parrot, just kept on saying that affirmation like a mantra, like someone like for crazy for a couple of hours altogether. And I think that day it just read. I think it just set in stone for me that day that affirmations work. You just have to believe that it's going to work and just keep at it. And I think if one thing that everyone should do is definitely say affirmations for yourself, definitely.
Great. So, in this past decade, since you got onto this journey, what is the one highlight achievement of your life that you want to share with everybody?
So many achievements, Manali, that it's difficult for me to say one highlight achievement. The change in job, that happened after I came to US. My first promotion from being a senior to a manager, that was an achievement. For being a senior manager was another achievement. Finding the right life partner for me was another achievement. I know we did a lot of work to get here. We've put in the effort, but I think for me, even putting in that effort was an achievement, because not a lot of people realize that you are putting in effort for a better life, for to transform your life. So I don't think I ever used to pat myself for all the effort that I've put in, but I do now. So I think it's just a transformational life. I don't think I can pinpoint to one such transformation or achievement.
So then give us your top five. You shared the top three. One was the job shifting and where you reached. The second is your life partner. And third, where you're heading right now in your career. Give us two more.
I think just generally being a more um loving person,
Mhm.
being okay with people around me and being okay with change. I think that I have never been okay with that.
Mm.
I was one kind of a person, and Manali always used to laugh that Nikita to जाके सो जाएगी रात के 11 बजे. Even if she's having a house party, her friends are there, she will say, okay, bye, and she'll go to sleep. So I think overcoming a lot of those things, also Manali, that has definitely been highlights that I've come a long way. And then I think for me last year also my life formation, when I heard that, oh, I've made such progress over a couple of months, I think for me that was a very, very big motivation and booster for me. That, if I set my mind at something, I can do it.
Amazing. So, like you said, your biggest highlight would be the effort that you've put, right, in this journey of yours. And on that note, would you like to tell everybody on what are your feelings and thoughts about coaching and if everybody should do it or not?
I think everybody should do it. People don't realize, but having an external support, an unbiased support is so important. And I'm so glad that I have that support in the form of you, and my coach. Uh, of course, there are days when we go a few days, a few weeks, sometimes without even talking or even exchanging messages. But I know at the back of my mind, I know that if I need Manali, I know she's always going to be there, and she's just a phone call away from me. So just and also I feel someone who's listening to you without any judgments. You might not be able to talk to your family members or your friends or your siblings or whoever, thinking that, oh, this person is going to judge me, or what are they going to think about me. I I think having that coach is so important, because I just don't feel judged at all when I go and talk to you. Right there. I can talk about anything and everything under the sun. So it's a very liberating feeling that you have someone who's always had your back. It's a very fulfilling experience, I would say, because there's so much you learn from your coach as well. Like, you pick up small things in the journey. So everyone, in my opinion, should definitely have a coach. If you are listening to this podcast from Empowered Body, Mind, and Soul, please, find that person, whoever it is, whether it's Manali, or even if it's anyone else outside in the community. Please go find that one person whom you can trust, and have the undivided support from.
That's amazing. So I like that, that support and that freedom. It's a liberating feeling to be
Yes.
yourself, right?
Yes.
So am I assuming that empowered body, mind, soul has made you feel exactly that? Or is there anything else that it has made you feel?
It has made me feel this exactly, and it has made me feel much more than that. The transformation that I have seen in my life um, has been so fulfilling. Has it's like I said, earlier as well. It's been such a beautiful experience. Of course, there are ups and downs, and that's what life is all about. Uh, but now I know that even if there are downs, there will be a high after that down, because I've experienced that journey, and I know that if I've been at a much worse place, and if I can come till here, small downs do not affect me as much now. So I think it has empowered body, mind, and soul has given me that confidence in myself, which I think is the biggest gift in my life.
Amazing. So, just like this series is called the Spotted Phoenix, and you are definitely a rare phoenix because finding
Thank
somebody
you.
who follows guidance to the T without question, and even if there is apprehension and even if there is fear, but still following it through, having that trust, is a big deal. So, like the series is called of a Spotted Phoenix, what quality of a phoenix do you resonate with?
I think for me, when I think of Phoenix, is it's always about the rebirth and the transformation of a Phoenix, right? So for me, I have seen that transformation not once but multiple times in my life. When the first time we worked together while I was going through my divorce, and how we've transformed my life since then to the career path that I am on, and all the applauds that I get even at work today. I think for me, it's the transformation, the strength of the phoenix. The strength that keeps it going, and then eventually always making sure that the transformation is happening. Like, from the old to the new. Let's see how I can improve myself from where I am today to where I will be tomorrow. And Yeah, I think so that's what I resonate the most when I think of a phoenix.
And that's true. I think your strength and perseverance is like a key to you, right? So, more
Yes.
power to you, more
Thank
transformation
you
to
so
you,
much, Manali.
and going to higher heights. Thank you for
Thank you
doing
so
this.
much.
And looking forward for everybody sharing in the comments what they got out of this journey and whether they are also ready to be on their transformative journey. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manali, for having me, and thank you so much for being that guiding light in my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.